Hello guys, and today I want to go through all 15 tracks that was chosen by the Zeepkist community in Discord channel as part of Zeepkist Super League, I believe Winter Challenge or something like that. And first one is Avantonti by Radiation Mod. And I'm really sorry if I pronounce track names or after names wrongly, but anyway, let's go back to the track. And I would say for me this track is quite interesting. It have all this transition from ice to snow, some really harsh corners like chicanes, and where you need to pick your lines. And also at the end you have this really speed area where you need to be really precise, and even slightly mistake could completely destroy your run. So yeah. Glinker Sea by Invisible Cat. I already played this map in one of my previous videos, and personally I find this track really interesting, and not only by the track itself, but also the scenery around it, like frozen lake and the forest. And you need to be really precise here on icy part of the track, where you can hit all these objects, but other way it's really straightforward track. Homestyle by Lass. Again, one of the track which I show in my videos, and I also like this track. It's really interesting. It's not hard, but you can easily be distracted by all this scenery and all these people, I would say, that you can easily hit. And also it has some points where you need to be really precise, like here for example, to not crash, but it's really interesting track. Next track's Just Bob Must, I believe created by 4 people, and as you can see there is a Santa Claus sledge, and it also gives you all these Christmas vibes. And track itself has really interesting scenery. I wouldn't say it's really hard track, but it's one of the track where you need to be really precise on your racing line to achieve really great results. Here's the area where you need to avoid all the snow and feel where you need to turn to not lose a lot of time. Also you need to control your soul box on all of these jumps, and I really like finish line here. Aurora Boreal Kissed by Regular Biscuit, and personally I found this track really interesting because of its approach, like starting from first person of view, and basically all this track is done from first person of view, which give you different perspective of all your track or your track lines. If you like this video, please put some likes and subscribes if you like any Zeepkist content on this channel. Thanks. Mount Stram by Roder. I found this track really easy to finish, but you need to be really precise on all of this ice transition to give really good time and to not hit all these track objects. That will definitely reduce your speed and increase your finish time. And sorry guys, if you notice that my change is slightly changed, because I recorded at the first day of the 2023, and yeah, it was a great night, and I have slightly hurt my throat, so sorry about that. On Scene Ice by Round and ZT. Cool idea for this track, where you need to go on ice and be really precise on the exit, because if you go to the snow part in not specific place for it, it will slow you down and you will lose time. So you need to be really precise on all of this exit and entering on ice part of this track. Personally, for first couple of temps, I was really struggling with guideline for this track. I was lack of all these errors or pointers who could show you where you need to go next. For example, here I tried to go up rather than down, and again, it's just for me, it was quite annoying. Next track, Mama Mountain by Cornshot, and honestly I find this track challenging as for me, but really fun to drive and with great scenery. You probably noticed that you start on Mammoth Head, and I spent like 5 to 10 minutes just to understand that all your track is go by the body of the mammoth, or even inside of it. And track itself has a really interesting flow with all these changing surfaces and transition from wood to ice, from ice to wood, where you still have the room for fix your errors and they won't be so crucial, but it's still you need to be really precise on it. Xmas Town by Codewalt. A slightly confusing track at the beginning, where you have this third point of view to first point of view transition and couple of jumps where you need to be precise to not hit any obstacles around it. But for other part of the track it's not really hard, with some interesting path transition. Winter City Circuit by St. Nicholas. Yet another interesting track with interesting idea when you have opportunity to choose your path for collecting checkpoints, left or right, and potentially it can give you different results, depend on your style and preference, I believe. But it definitely gives any contestant option to choose their own way how to drive this track and manage and collect all these checkpoints. And I believe we will see different approach for this track, which make it more interesting. Frosty Village by Wookie. Really interesting track, not hard. The idea is you need to choose your line to collect some boosters, and some of them are beneficial and they can give you more speed, and some of them are not on perfect track lines when you need to be cautious or really think through your lines to collect the most beneficial for you. In other way, if you will try to collect all of them, potentially you can lose more speed than this booster can give you. No Spoil by Blue Dreamer, and I already played this track, and if you want to see how it starts from the beginning, you can watch another my video about ZSL tracks. Really interesting track with really interesting concept of flying and using all these fans, and it gives you a lot of room to drive, and still you can hit any of this tree and lose your time or spoil your attempt. But it's really great track. Sinterklaas Rodelbahn by RS Gold. Personally, for me, I wouldn't find this track very hard, except these first two elements where you need to aim for moving objects, but all other part of these tracks are really interesting, and one part was confusing for me. It's the arrow who showed slightly in different way, but all other part of the track are pretty easy, like all this pipe. If you noticed, I didn't steer at all, and the only last part I could call somehow technical, but for all other stuff it's really easy and fun track to drive. Winter Resort by Rororo. Personally, I find this track really hard for me, because you're basically out of control when you're doing all this half pipe in ice, and you need basically plan all your way through all this pipe on this very beginning of this half pipes, and then just rely on that you all did correctly, and entering there is not spoil it at the end. And also at the end there's really interesting, let's call it this way, interesting element is half loop on ice half pipe, I can call it this way. And problem for me that you need a lot of speed to end this, but also you need to went out from this element almost perfectly to hit the finish line. If not, you're basically screwed. Woodland Winter by Lama Lordi. I really enjoyed drive this track, and I don't know, is it because it was last on the list and I already tried almost everything, or just because it's natural flow and really interesting elements which not hard but can spoil you and give you room to gain or lose time. And this is the last track in this list, so if you like this video, please put like and subscribe if you want to see more video about Zeepkist. Thanks and happy holidays. Bye guys.